Watch. That was a double lift. It's a sleight that every card magician must know. I pretend to take off one card, but in fact, I'm taking two. That is the deceit. Pretending to do that, but actually doing that. Hi, I'm Jive Dadson. Did I say that? I don't remember. I first learned to do this about 50 years ago, over 50 years ago, and I think the man who taught me to do the first double lift I learned was the great J.B. Bobo, the coin man. Like I said, it's been a long time, so I'm not sure that that's correct, but he taught me a lot of things when I was a youngster, around 12 or 13 years old. Very good memories. What are we trying to do? Pretend to do one thing, do something else. J.B. Bobo taught me that that is what magic always is. Pretending to do one thing when you're actually doing something else. So we need to know what it looks like when a civilian deals one card off the top. A lay person. What do? They push one card off the top with the thumb. They take it with the thumb and forefinger of the other hand. And that's it. Then they may show it to you, might deal it. Sometimes, if you're playing stud, somebody might reach over with the top fingers and take it with the thumb and forefinger that way. But it's always going to be with the push and the grab. I don't think you'll ever see a layman try to take off just one card like this. It's not easy to do, really. You have to push with the thumb. So, I can't emphasize enough, this is what we're going to try to do. How to start. Begin by getting a pinky break underneath the top two cards. Like so. There are various ways to do it. Lots of tutorials on YouTube showing how to do it. Don't do what I just did. I think I showed you what I was doing. Namely, pinky count. Second time, that was better. Because I tilted the cards up like this so you couldn't see these cards popping up like that. No good. Rule number 1 of pinky break, don't get caught. Rule number 2, don't look like you're doing something fishy. Best way, and then I'll say no more about the getting the pinky break under 2, is just to start with the cards sort of like this. Maybe you've been doing another trick, maybe the audience thinks the trick is over. You just have them sort of loose on top like this, and that makes it easy to get your finger under here and then just even them up like so. Now you've got your pinky break. So learn to do it without getting caught and without looking fishy. In general, don't overact. I see people like when they're doing a pass, they'll end with something like that. Don't be fishy. Maybe that's rule number 3. Don't be fishy. So we start with our pinky break under here. Now the easy version, and the first version that I learned, you come over with the forefinger of the right hand and also have the ring finger of the right hand over the top like this. And now it's just really easy to glide this around, and you've got it under complete control, pivoting against the base of your thumb, with the forefinger up here and the ring finger here. We do what we said we were going to do at the onset. We grab it between the thumb and forefinger. But we have this little secret going on here. Nobody is going to notice this. They're not supposed to notice. You've got the ring finger, third finger of your right hand on top of the cards. So you can push up with your middle finger, push down with the ring finger, and the ring finger will contact the edge of the cards at approximately the first knuckle. And doing so, we put a slight bend in the cards. I'll exaggerate that. Put a bend like so. That prevents the possibility that these cards will be open this way and that the spectators will be able to see down through them like this. There are two ways that the cards can separate. They can separate like this, or they can separate like this. We've got them both under control. The separation this way and that way, we're controlling with this finger, these fingers here, the base of the thumb, can't go anywhere. And then when we turn it over, we're controlling this split by pinching the cards and giving them a slight bend. So, moving along now, show the bent cards, slightly bent cards to the spectators. Turn them face up on top of the deck and place your thumb on top of both the card that you're showing and the third card. This will keep this split from showing. With really bad cards, you might have to put your finger here. So, what have we learned? Don't try this with bad cards. These cards are virtually new. It helps a lot to have some good cards. Finally, the last part of the move, we're going to do something that's a nice condenser and it's really easy. I'm going to take the middle finger of the right hand, or maybe the middle finger and the ring finger, and just very lightly, as we tilt the deck slightly from the performer's perspective, from the right-handed performer's perspective, clockwise, and just push through like this, and the cards, plural, will turn over very easily like that. Okay? Not difficult. But one thing to guard against is be careful not to, I would advise against using that move to turn cards from the face down position to the face up position. Reason being that if a puff of wind or something like that comes along and these cards separate, you're busted. Whereas when you're going from the face up position to the face down, if they separate a little bit, no problem. It's just another face down card. That's the first way of doing it. One more time. Across like this, pinch with the thumb like this, and over. One thing I haven't done is this. I know that there's a famous video editor out there who's doing this. Well, I think that looks fishy as heck. The way that Bobo et al. Taught me much better, in my humble opinion. Okay, now the hard way to do it. This takes a lot of practice. I will not try to kid you on this, but I think it's worth it. I'm going to get my double lift. Beep, beep, beep. And we're going to do essentially the same thing, except this time, no training wheels. We're not going to have the finger on here. We're not going to have it pressed into the base of the thumb. We're going to attempt, and eventually we will, push across like this, just straight across 2 cards without any crutches, without any training wheels. And to do this, rather than having the thumb up here at the corner to pivot around, I'm going to bring the thumb down to the middle of the deck, like so. Right between the spokes. And then this thumb will feel just the sharp edge of the top card and will start to push off like this. And as soon as you've gotten it pushed off a little bit, you want, that's one of my doggies, repelling invaders. As soon as you push off a little bit like this, you want to have an equal pressure from the thumb on the 3rd card and the top card. And the pressure ideally is very, very, very light. Don't forget that this is a very light touch, and it's going to take practice to do this. But in my opinion, it is well worth it. So you get some kind of look like, oops, like this. But don't say oops if you sort of goof it. Pro tip. There we go. Now, one thing that we need to tend to with this version that we didn't so much with the easier version is this gap right here. When you release at the front, this pinky break is going to cause these 2 cards to pop up. And we don't really want that to be seen. It's not a terrible thing if the audience sees it, but it's better that they don't. So we may tend to cover that somehow. At the beginning of this video, what I did, I pointed here, and then I did this, or something like that, and that is a misdirection. The eye, if I did it correctly, the eye of the spectator went over here. Milliseconds later, I started across like this, and then let it pop up as the hands are moving together. That makes it pretty much invisible. Again, misdirection, like so, boom. Another way to go about it is just to point to the card like so, and now you can let go with the fingers and it won't pop up because you're actually holding it down with the forefinger. But the thumb still appears to be pushing it across. You see, you can't possibly be pulling it because you've only got the one finger here, so that doesn't look suspicious. And you can find other ways with misdirection and big motion covering small motion to cover that. That's about all I can think of, except practice, 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 and always, every time you attempt one more push off or one more double lift, always be trying to make it the best performance grade that you can do. You can't learn to do something well by practicing doing it badly. So if you aren't continually improving as you practice, stop practicing and do something else. Believe me, it'll be better when you come back after an hour or a day or a week. Give it time for the muscle memory to kick in, but don't train your muscle memory to do the wrong thing. I hope this has been helpful, and if you have any comments, suggestions, criticisms, whatever, please, I would like to hear them. This is Jive Dadson, over and out.